Welcome and thank you for hanging out with us. This is a special edition of the IT in the D Show. We are broadcasting over at the CXO Forum in the Madison Lofts in beautiful Detroit, Michigan. I'm your host, Bob Waltenspiel. Co-host this week, Erik Wille. You might know him from the CXO Forum. You might know him as the CTO of Cabinetworks Group. You also might know him from the Great Security Debate podcast. You might know him as an all-around great guy, but Erik and I are going to be doing this six-part series here at the CXO Forum. And a special shout-out, Randy Walker. Today he's going to be soundboard engineer instead of co-host producer extraordinaire. Actually, producer too. But yeah, you can find us online, itinthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials, subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold. Without further ado, this will be a 6-part series. We hope you enjoy it and see you soon. Back hanging out, Tom Doane. I think he's got 17 titles. When he told me he listed off his resume, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to remember all this. Erik, you know a couple, but I'm going to start.
A couple of them.
You are one of the founding members of CXO Forum here in Detroit.
Yep.
This is your event. Appreciate. This is a fantastic venue. Love the Madison Loft. Couldn't have picked a better spot. Talk to me about the CXO Forum. How did you get involved, started? What's the goal? What's the end game?
Yeah.
ChatGPT came up with the idea. No.
Agentic AI.
We asked Agentic AI, and it just gave us an idea.
Yeah.
No, it started by Martin Bally, Rob Forrest, and myself. Yeah. We had been to many events in the past. 25 years I've been doing cybersecurity, right? And I've been to a ton of events where I'll spend, as a sponsor, $20,000, and I'll sit in the corner and no one will even talk to me. And you just are like, why are we spending money on this, right? And so we found that we really didn't get value as the sponsors, as the people that built the technologies. We didn't get value out of it. And we were talking with Martin and some other folks one day, and we're like, well, we're also frustrated that it's nothing for us. Like, it's got to be something that's valuable for us in the event. So we got together and said, why don't we do events that really honor both sides and make sure that there's something really valuable that we're learning and growing our network, but also beneficial to the people that are on from both sides coming to it, so that we both have something we want to go to. And that was the genesis of CXO Forum. Our first dinner that we did was, I knew the CEO of Abnormal, because one of the investors was with the company I was with at Sky High before. The CEO of Sky High was the investor in Abnormal. And so I felt bad that I never got him any meetings when I talked to Evan. So we did a dinner with Chris Burrows, and with Abnormal was our first dinner. It was like 3 years ago now. And we had like 25 CISOs, and the idea was we're never going to let the person that's selling the technology lead the discussion, because no one needs to hear that. What we want to hear from is someone that's actually used it and someone that we trust. And so the whole point of CXO Forum, and you'll see that today, has always been, we want the people that are actually finding value and solving a problem, we want them to have a voice and tell what they did and tell what changed the things for them, or what made life better or worse or whatever. And we want them to share their story, and that's beneficial to the people that are actually making this technology, because that's all they want. They just want people to hear the story of what was done that was useful, or what was done that why it was helpful. And so we've always done that mantra since we've started. And guess what? People that make this stuff really like it because they get their stories out. And the people that need this want to hear from their peers. And so that's kind of been the genesis of CXO Forum.
That was the origination of IT in the D. There was a lot. I go to all these networking events. I don't like any of them. We don't want to be great. We just want to suck less. And lo and behold, 15 years later, we're still doing events. You guys are, filling this house. It's a testament to sucking less. I think it's fantastic. It should be a theme of more companies too.
That's going to be our tagline now.
That's fine. I'll allow you to use it. That was when I did the TED Talk. That was suck less was on the big screen at the Masonic.
Nice.
That's like the most no one took pictures of our thing until
that's awesome.
I put here's our business plan, and it was just a sticky note with that on it.
Yeah, we're not going to dance around it. Let us tell you exactly what we're about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's always different ways to do it. Like we try different ideas of how to provide value, but that's the goal. The goal is we don't want people to pitch things. We want people to talk about something they did that was cool.
Well, and that's kind of been the theme, that if you look at the title can't remember if it's this talk that's
Stronger
going on right now.
Together is
Yeah,
this one,
Stronger
yeah.
Together. So that's been a kind of a theme that we've had at a couple of events now, recognizing that we're all using different tools, but as we start bringing them together, that's how we really address risk within organizations.
And my life mantra too of assassinating my profession, like the sales industry, of bad actors. Like it's been filled with. You look at my green blinking lights, and I'm begging people to never talk about your green blinking lights because nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody, like, I can't. I'm going to say it again. Did you hear me the first time?
No, I missed that one.
No one cares about your green blinking lights. That should be a T-shirt. I'm going to have a brand.
Oh, that would be phenomenal.
I'm going to make a brand. I'm going to do all of it. I got quoted in a slide that I never said, so maybe we could use this one too.
There you go. We'll have to attribute it to somebody else, though.
Totally, that's fine.
It's pay it forward.
Socrates, whatever. Like, pick something.
Well, like the
Descartes.
Like Erik earlier today talked about the Venn diagram of all these technologies are overlapping each other, and we used to always have that conversation. That's what spawned the Stronger Together last year. Was that even as a practitioner, it's so confusing as to who does what.
Yeah.
These people, this technology suddenly is doing what the other technology is doing, and which one should I really go with, and who do I put my eggs in? And
we talked about the death of SIM today. I'm like, did we? Is it really going? Is this really happening?
I believe so.
That's fair. But what I'm saying is, like, when you talk about overlap, then you have things that completely disrupt and just knock vendors out. Like companies that were once religions in this space are now relegated to getting acquired by network vendors and have turned into not what they were. No, I didn't name them. I didn't even rhyme.
We all know where you're going.
I don't know what you're talking. I'll let you.
Your cost may go up 5x.
Yeah. When people always ask me to introduce myself, I always say I was acquired by Symantec, and as another startup acquired by McAfee, and I voluntarily went to CrowdStrike. It's my fault, and then I've done some other things.
Fair, right? Fair. We've all made that move when we're like, oh no, and then you got to put on LinkedIn, and they're like, should I delete it? Should I delete it? You're like, no, it's fair.
Let's talk about those other things, because it's
what other things. CXO
Forum is not just kind of your only role. You've got a number of different things that you do outside of the organization.
Yep. So my day job is I run sales for a company called Profit Security AI. So agentic AI is kind of what I'm currently doing. It's our CEO, Kamal Shah. It's my fourth startup with them. So we all go way back to Sequoia days, and we've been very blessed that a lot of the companies that we've been with have been successful and names that people actually know, because that's always the thing, right? My first startup, MirrorPoint, no one knows the name. I was there 10 years, and nobody even knows that they started email security. So it is possible. Most startups do not work, right? So that's kind of how things go. So that's my day job. I got somehow volunteered, and now I'm the CISO advisor for the TV show called The Chosen. It's thechosen.tv. It's on Amazon. It's in your airplanes if you fly in airplanes, stuff like that. And that was just one of those things where it was just, you don't know how you get involved. You meet someone, you're at an event, you answer the question of what you do for a living, and you get roped into, now you're advising something, right?
I love the fact that there is, because I always watch these shows, especially with IT components to them, swordfish included, and going, they couldn't have hired a damn practitioner to raise the flag that this is not like Black Hat. That was one of the worst.
Yeah.
No.
But I'm happy to hear that there's a project that actually brings on like a CISO or something,
Well, it was happenstance. It was more of there was a COO who was really smart, and he saw the fact that I did cybersecurity, and he went, I think we don't have that here, and we might need it here. And it was just one of those, like, his awareness. And then instead of me just blowing up on them of this is what you need to do, like, how dare you, when you get in an organization and you understand that it's horribly missing some things that they need to have. For like 3 years, I would just roll out a new idea like every month or so, and just like, have you ever heard of like cybersecurity awareness training? And they'd be like, no, what's that? I'd be like, oh, this is something we should talk about.
Let me tell you.
And then we would end up doing that, and then it was just, you can't go all in with these smaller companies. No. You have to just like a little bit of time go, let's just get our bases covered, endpoints, some cloud security, a little bit of stuff. And now they're pretty mature. We're SOC, we've passed some audits, that kind of stuff. I'm pretty proud of the work, but it's one of those things where I meet with them once a week for an hour, and it's just, what are you doing? What should we be doing? Thanks a lot, But it's a very rewarding, and I'm a huge supporter of it, huge fan of the show, and so it's just one of those things that's like a blessing just to be a part of it, right?
That's super cool. I don't know many people that both span the practitioner side and the sales side. You don't often hear about that.
Yeah, and
they're either fake one or fake the other.
Right.
They're not like it's either a sales engineer, which is like you don't, or they're a seller that like got a cloud certification.
Right.
Yeah. It was for me. It was to keep myself in that thought process. Because if you don't, I lived in LA for my whole 20s, like 20s through 30. And I was always a consultant. I owned a couple of consulting practices. And so I was always on the practitioner side. I was their effective CIO for hire or whatever, right? We were consulting. And it's a different mindset. When you're having to protect somebody, you think about the company, you think about a brand, you think about protecting the most important people. That's all you care about. And you don't care about the technology, because it's costs and it's different thought. So for me, it's been very rewarding to keep my feet in that, just a little bit of that fire of let's sit through a meeting talking about physical security cameras that I would never do in my day job, but it brings you back to the world of there's so many other things that people have to think about in security.
It's not the only thing.
It's not the only thing. Yeah. There's, when you're thinking of security, there's all these things that are important that distract us. And that's why maybe sometimes our projects don't get funded or something doesn't happen because there's so many distractions. Well, now that you're in a role that's going to start to experience that, there's, what CRM database are you using? What EDR process?
Right.
Every company has its own stuff that is germane to their business. They care way more about that because that's what keeps the ship going.
The Germans ain't got nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Smokey and the Bandit. I'm sorry. You said anyone that says germane in a meeting, I have to drop that and then no one knows what I'm talking about and I have to explain it. I digress.
Maybe that should be part of your the training of salespeople or the blowing that whole space up is, hey, go live the life of a CISO, of a practitioner, truly understand.
But that's the thing. We talked about this all day today, too, is that I don't care what you do. You might kick and scream and tell me I'm stupid, but everybody's in sales.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a CISO of the biggest company in the world. You still have to position
you're influencing somebody.
A budget, your team.
Yep.
It's never ending. And it's fine if you want to say you're a liar, Bob. But deep down, it's true.
My number one job at The Chosen is educating and selling an idea, because we have to. Why do we need an incident response retainer? Well, let me explain it to you, right? Yeah. And we're going to go through the pros and cons, and then usually, if you do a good job, pull it back to the business. They go, absolutely. Why have we not done this yet?
But it's also like security is a different world, but like in infrastructure, it's a math problem. I've always preached this with anybody that's selling cloud, and I'm a hybrid IT purist, and you're going through workloads, and it's a math problem. Should this be in the cloud? Should this be on premise? Right? And and there's 7 criteria, 8 criteria, and you have to check all the boxes, and then you figure it out. Like that's it. Like this isn't my stuff. My green blinking lights are faster, better, stronger. It's a math problem.
Right.
And access sometimes. Right,
Fair.
like access could be it, and there's always different. Everything's got to be nuanced into the situation that it's in, because there's always a reason. There's always pros and cons for everything, right? I like Chris Barrows. He's always really good at bringing it back to the business problem as to what's the risk to the business, and I learned that from him. And every time I'm trying to get The Chosen to do something, I always bring it back to, will we spend hundreds of millions of dollars on this? What would the risk to the brand be if someone were to compromise everyone's phone and start doing social media that AI is trying to ruin your brand?
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, yeah. What do you need? Like, let's figure it out, right? And that's really how you have to always think as to what are we doing, why are we doing it, and what would be the risk, and mitigate that. And you can always go overboard, so it's always this proportionality of, let's make sure that whatever we're suggesting is not more than what's needed for the risk that we're looking
100%.
at.
I mean, early on, that's what got security practitioners in trouble, right?
Yeah.
That it was
the
the
sky's
chicken,
falling.
Chicken Little, that it's going to be the worst thing ever, that we need all of this money. And okay, you're spending $1,000 to protect $100.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
But that's also, I always use the analogy of the house. Like you lock your front doors, like maybe how far do you get a bulldog or you get a pit bull?
Yeah.
You have a gun safe. Do you get storm windows? Are you building a safe room in the basement? Are you putting in surveillance?
I got a pop-up minigun on my roof.
That's what I'm saying, like a sentry gun. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, how far do you take it? Like, it will depend.
Is that standard for new builds?
Yeah, it's remote too. You just go Alexa.
It's going to be on a Boston Dynamics dog soon enough. So might as well,
Alexa, protect.
I mean,
but
awesome. It's seriously though, like when you talk about spending all that to protect, like we always used to say selling security. That was the third step. It was based on your level of sophistication or paranoia, depending on who you were talking to. First one was I got wrecked. I'm in oh shit mode.
Right.
Second one is I need to check a compliance box for my insurance or my compliance.
Right.
And then the third one was just throw it up in the air.
Right.
But that was, that's how I always envision security. I might be totally wrong and you can correct me, but that's the way I always looked at it.
No, it's...
Well, to your one of your original points about there's the Venn diagram of there are kind of doing this, they're overlapping in the technology and what the curve is what each technology does. But then there's some that completely disrupt and change things. And I think that we're in a period of time now where there is a disruption, where things are completely being done a completely different way than they were done before. And I think that's a really interesting, how do we handle that? How do we deal with those kind of things? And
at the same time, there's a lot of vaporware out there, right?
Yeah.
What was the company? Gosh, were they over in the UK? Something like that. I forget the name of the company, but essentially they were helping you build. AI was building some type of app, I think, for mobile devices, and they just went belly up because what they found out, there was no AI. It was about 700 team members that were over in India.
They just said it was AI.
God, that's an old joke of mine, because remember I told you I was in the machine learning? Well, I told you I was in the machine learning space, and I almost would bet money there's 1,000 people in Bangladesh looking at log files and then telling this. That's funny.
Yeah,
but the question is, were they good at it?
Builder.ai.
Or is it because the English was broken?
Yeah. Builder.ai.
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
I would have said Mushy Peas AI or something. Is that a British company?
So one of the experiences where I've had...
Obviously, they weren't good at it.
No.
One of my experiences with this is where I'm at currently now, Profit. At The Chosen, I was going to go hire an MSP before I took the job at Profit, which is January this year. And the reason is we had an IT person, but we had CrowdStrike, and it's complicated. I mean, I worked for CrowdStrike, and I have a tough time... When I see a new alert, it takes me a bit to understand, is it real? Is it something I need to pay attention to? It takes me a long time to kind of look through it and go, yep, it's nothing, we're good. We were going to have, when we didn't have 24/7, and I kept thinking that, saying there's something, we need to have eyes on something 24/7, because if something really bad happens, it might be 2 days before I look at it. It might be another day before someone else looks at it, and that's not workable. So we plugged in Profit into their CrowdStrike instance and some other stuff. And immediately, if anything happened, it investigated it fully, made a determination, went into CrowdStrike, closed it out. And I was like, all right, this is really changing things. This is different than before. I'm not doing anything. It's autonomously figuring out what it is, coming to a conclusion, having good reasoning, showing its work, and then going and doing what I would have an analyst do. And their IT person was like, this took me 3 hours the other day to go through one of these. This was was it 20 seconds that did it? He said, done. We put a pager duty in, so it wakes someone up in the middle of the night if it's actual malicious. And now we have 24/7, and that proportionality. We're such a small company, that's all we need. We just needed someone to be paying attention.
That's why
even if it's not a human, we needed something to be paying attention and wake us up.
It kind of triggered a thought for me, because I know one of the episodes we did on the Great Security Debate is talking about the impact to the SMB space, right? Because you're talking about, there are a ton of small companies out there that cannot, like The Chosen, right? They can't afford a security team, let alone a full-blown MSSP. Yeah. This starts to change that paradigm, and now maybe this gives them some hope to be able to protect themselves.
But I think even for them, how do you know what you're implementing or putting in is, not saying it's good, but there's this is a very much a gold rush time, like the late 90s, where all these companies just flooded into the market, and there's a different .ai company every 3 days, every 3 hours.
I think you should be driven by solving a problem that you face, not by trying to create a problem with something you purchase.
Right.
There's a lot of IT security folks that you get excited about new technologies or something you heard about, and it's like you have a problem looking for a solution.
Oh, 100%.
And you have to just think about in your organization, do your audits, do your pen testing, and then shore up the things that have weaknesses.
You mean
and solve
blockchain isn't going to change the whole world?
It might not. It's possible.
Well, Erik has a next-gen firewall, so he's secure. So he doesn't need any of these tools.
Actually, I save money. It's not next gen. It's like one.
You'd have the
next
old
gen
one?
M minus one.
Pre-gen?
Yeah, pre-gen.
Using like Cisco, ASA.
Ouch. Shots fired. The ASA lives on. Wow, there's a throwback for me. Gosh.
Remember the semantic hardware? Were you there during those days? The yellow.
Yeah.
The yellow,
We never had the hardware.
It was really just a computer that had a logo on it.
Right.
Yeah, that's all it was.
You know what were the best looking servers of all? Now that we're getting on a tangent here with the yellow, semantics were good. There was a company called Cobalt. You might be too young for this. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And it was they were 1U.
They were cool looking.
40U, filled up a 40U server, 40 of these things. They were this blue color and had the lights. It looked like a damn nightclub. Like, because the ISP I was at went to the data center, and they had like 15 racks full of these things.
Nice.
And it was like, oh my, it was like, to this day, I've never seen it. Like,
it's glorious.
No, but the black Dell servers, this was like, literally looked like a damn nightclub, like my Samsung party speaker, like the JBL thing.
Nice.
And it sold to Sun, and it went away. It was a sad day.
Did it come with Bluetooth speakers on the server?
There was no Bluetooth then.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
What is that like back then?
I was talking to my old business partner.
Before time.
Speaking of old things, I was just talking to my old business partner from Los Angeles yesterday. And I'm like, we did work for Santa Monica Pictures, right? He goes, yeah. I remember that. And it was while they were rendering the movie Independence Day, we were fixing the Silicon graphics machines. We were their IT guys. And so we would walk around the office, and there was these giant, it was called the Challenge, the Onyx, and something else, and it was their giant supercomputers from Silicon Graphics that would render stuff. And every time we get near the room, the animators would be like, "Don't go near that room, don't touch it." It would take a month for it to render one of the scenes.
Did no one tell them that a UFO wouldn't have a USB port in it? Did no one just say, Jim, you guys are plugging in to a port in a UFO? Like,
it's universal.
Yeah, IEEE standards go into galactic.
There was a lot of plot flaws, but these were the animators, so they probably did give it away. They just were making cool looking stuff. That's all they cared about. The one guy had a life-size Predator in his office, like accurate to the T.
That is pretty cool, though.
And at night, when you'd walk in there, it would scare the living out of you just to see that at night. It was crazy. But anyway, so that's the machines have changed.
I don't know.
We think about how the evolution of what we use computers-wise over just the past 20 years has been.
Oh, it's amazing.
Astronomical.
And it's not going to slow down anytime soon. That's why I think as we've been talking today about all of the different applications, agentic AI and deep learning, all of these different things, I still think we're still on the tip of the iceberg. That we have no clue
every
to come.
3 hours something's coming out. Like,
it's crazy.
When we thought ChatGPT was cool, then here comes this, and then here comes that, and then here comes Notebook LM, and then here comes like.
We're gonna hit the tipping point where AI is now evolving itself, and that's when it's going to be scary.
Right.
Bananas.
Horrible.
Yeah, or great. You never know.
No, they're already gonna.
And now we're issuing tinfoil hats.
No. Yeah. See, I don't the self-driving no.
Not there yet?
No, I don't want any part of it. I'm not an old head. I like new technology. There's certain things I'm just like, I've seen too many movies.
So
sci-fi nerd, no.
Was my Waymo joke too soon this morning?
No, I think it landed well.
Yeah, no, it's fine. All I keep thinking about with the Waymo is I loved Silicon Valley. It was one of my favorite shows of all time, top 10.
Super good show.
And when he got into the first one and he ended up in a shipping container to like Singapore or something, it's fantastic. We had Guilfoyle on the show a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
He was at Comic-Con like right next to us.
That's awesome.
And he gave us one of the best drops. He's like, the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh or Bob, and this is IT and the D. It was great.
Nice.
He's such a cool guy.
One of the guys that works for me has a Cybertruck. And I told him he needs to get a wrap that's been tagged. So it's like totally tagged wrap, so it's got spray paint all around. They go, then they'll leave you alone. They'll think
Right,
they got
yeah,
you.
it's graffitied in his Pontiac Aztec. Yeah.
I hear they were putting Toyota emblems on the back, so
really?
don't mess with me. It's Toyota. Oh.
Right.
That's about the intelligence level of the people that are upset.
I'll
It's
drink
a
to
mess.
that.
Yeah. Gosh.
And to think we're in the safest time in in human history right
It's nuts.
now. Yeah. Too much information too, and we're on information overload. But I digress.
Hey, and that is one of the problems with AI, though. Right? If you
yeah.
kind of bring it in full circle,
Yeah.
that a lot of the models and everything that we operate on is all about the majority of data when you ask it a question, right? So if you can control the majority, it doesn't care if it's fact or fiction.
Well, it's no different than manipulating the algorithm to be first in a Google search.
Yeah.
Right.
Once you can
Yes.
figure out how to manipulate the output to whatever you
Gaming
want
the
it to-
game?
gaming the game.
Well,
Wikipedia, who's editing Wikipedia? If it's 850,000 lunatics on one fringe, they get to control the narrative. It's better than winning a war.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, my old business partner, the CEO of his company, the Wikipedia was totally wrong. It was just wildly off, and he went and changed it. And one of the Wikipedia agents, or whatever you want to call them, they lost it on him. They're like, "You're not allowed to. It has to be us, and we control what's on there." And
Well, I'm banned.
Oh, wow.
I'm banned
Yeah.
from Wikipedia.
yeah,
My IP for my phone.
Why does that not surprise me?
I tried to edit something, and it said, "Oh yeah, you're banned." I go, so I screenshotted it, sent it to my group text.
Nice.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, I would say so.
Absolutely.
Tom, good seeing you.
Good talking
to you. Appreciate the time spent. We're going to wrap things up for this CXO Forum. Erik, it's been a pleasure.
It has indeed.
we'll have to have you do this again sometime. I think it'd be good.
Not now. Like, let's give us a couple of days. I think we're
tomorrow. I was thinking
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I'll be here
We're
at
8 in
6
the
a.m.
morning. Let's go. We're at breakfast in Royal Oak anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see you there. We'll bring microphones. But this is I've been an honor and a pleasure. Appreciate the time.
Good times.
Thank you to Randy Walker for being the best engineer on the planet, and on behalf of Bob and Erik,
And thanks for spending all day with us. This was absolutely fantastic.
I wouldn't have missed this for the world. So,
All right. Thanks.
beat it.
Later.